We've got a few exciting things that aren't necessarily just, things you're going to search up and find off the internet.
I think there's some more stuff coming up in spring. I feel like that now, today is like inspiring, right? Like spring mood, spring feelings or whatever. So I just would highly recommend it's patio weather, y'all. You guys should be getting out there.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. How are we all doing today? It is Thursday. We are nearing the end of the week and we have a new month. It is February. Happy February 1st. Happy February to those who have done dry January. So I don't know if this qualifies as wet February, but we are here in February. Great time to kick off a new business topic. So what we do, first of all, welcome to the North Texas Community Difference Frisco version. And what this is it's a community show. We put the spotlight on local business owners, entrepreneurs, political leaders, Frisco ISD leadership, nonprofit leadership, and sports leadership here in Sports City, USA, Frisco, right? So we have rotating co-hosts every week, along with our business topic of the month. And since we are in a new month of February, our topic of the month is leveraging social media to increase brand awareness and customer engagement locally. So excited to have our co-host on today. We have Ethan, who is subbing in today and is a social media expert. So excited to have him on the show today. This is a great topic for him to be part of. So couldn't have a better sub co-host today. And then Jacqueline Kreider, who hopefully will be with us. I know she was running in from a late lunch appointment, so she may or may not be with us. If she doesn't join us, her ops manager will for at least a short period of time. So look forward to having both of them on, and then also our guest of the day. So Lennon, without further ado, let's go ahead and bring everybody into the screen if we can. What's up, guys? How we doing?
Good.
Hey,
Doing
great. Good.
Fantastic. All right, so Jacqueline hasn't made it yet. I can see we don't have Jacqueline, but
Not yet.
No, that's cool. So it's great that she has a great staff to fill in for her. Why don't you introduce yourself, because we didn't even get to the formal introductions behind backstage before we came on.
Well, I'm Patrick Bestie. I'm actually Jacqueline's operations manager. I'm also a loan officer licensed, take care of a lot of the things in the back end and make sure the loans go through smoothly.
Awesome. Yeah. So, and Jacqueline's been on previous shows. So I think this is her second or third time around in the rotation. So, hopefully folks have seen Jacqueline before, but PBJ Mortgage, tagline is making mortgage simple. So that's what
making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's right. I love that tagline. I love that. I love that analogy every time. And then Ethan Donovan, who is officially the newest member of the co-hosting crew. Ethan, why don't you give the audience an introduction and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me here, Brian. But my name is Ethan Donovan. I own my own creative agency. So we do marketing, graphic design, video editing. We come to you. We come up with all the content ideas, film it with you, whether you want graphics or videos. We own the entire Adobe Creative Suite. So whatever you guys are looking for, we do. And then that's really it. I mean, volume, baby. Get your volume up on social media. That's all that matters.
Amen to that. And, that's what we're all about here, right? We're basically doing spotlights on businesses locally, community based. We're doing it online, right? We're doing it with a podcast and we broadcast it over live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, a few other different places. Then we blast it out to 75 plus different, I believe, streaming services as well. So all of that goes into playing into the SEO building. All of that, like you said, stacking them all up, getting that volume up. So
the more the better.
Yes. Amen. So that's what we do here at The Difference, in addition to, networking online, overall business development. So a lot of great things coming out from The Difference, but specific to the community show, this is where we have the opportunity to bring in guests and allow them to spotlight businesses. So Jared, I'd like to allow you a little bit of time to introduce yourself and tell the audience about, what you do.
You bet. I'm Dr. Jared Wilson, doctor of chiropractic, and I specialize in the treatment of sports injury, sports recovery, injury prevention, as well as in the treatment of neuropathy, which is numbness, tingling, burning in the feet due to the nerves in your legs and feet dying. And then we also help with the treatment of degenerative arthritis, specifically, in the back and the knees.
Okay. Well, that's obviously a growing situation and affliction.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
It's they actually expect that roughly it's like 100 million people suffer from knee pain, and neuropathy is just on the rise. Whether that's from poor health, whether it's from traumatic injury, what have you. It's also on the rise, and the downside is the neuropathy stuff that kills people.
Yeah, no doubt. So great. Well, we will dive a little bit more into this, some of the science behind what you do. And I was joking around, backstage. It's not a laughing matter. We weren't literally joking, but we've all experienced something, whether it's a sport related injury or just sports related recovery, because we are big old sports nerds on the show. So we could be frequent flyers to your location. Not that
That's
we
the
want
idea.
to be. Yeah. So Jacqueline, great to see you sliding in, coming off a hot lunch appointment.
I know. Sorry about that, man. Actually, Frisco traffic's not too bad, but there's just a lot of road construction. So, as life would have it. But yeah, we're gonna say about Jared what we say about Chance all the time, right? We need them, but we don't want to need them.
That's right. That's
Because
exactly
Chance
right.
deals with the ER piece, and so he's like, "You don't want to have to come see
Yeah.
me," and I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't want to see you, really."
No, but if you do, just know that you're gonna get taken care of.
Exactly, but we have the best people, right? So that's
Right.
what matters, is that we know who we can see when stuff doesn't go right.
We need to know who to have on speed dial when the need arises.
Exactly.
Yep,
So
exactly.
Jacqueline, give the audience a real quick overview of what your business is. It was great to have your ops managers stand in for you, but give the formal.
Yes, of course. So I run PBJ Mortgage, where we are making mortgage simple as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Obviously, that finance transaction when you buy a house. Unfortunately, most of the time you need us. I hope you have enough cash where you don't need me, but a lot of people don't. And so we're going to try to take that process and simplify it down, make it as easy as possible for you. And we're going to kind of educate you about, the different kinds of products. We're going to empathize with where you're at, and then we're going to empower you to make the best decision. And we're going to drill it down to a couple of simple choices as opposed to so many different options, if you will. And that's kind of the heart of our business.
Fantastic. Well, like I said, thanks for joining us. I'm glad you could make it. This is, as you know, we are a live show, so you get to see the shift change going live, just like hopping over the hockey boards. You guys, you're changing seats as we're live. So glad you were able to join us. Right now, we're going to take a real quick break, and on the back end, we're going to talk about what's up in Frisco. So this is What's Up Frisco. We've got a few exciting things that aren't necessarily just, things you're going to search up and find off the internet. So Ethan, I know we've got a really exciting business partner that we both know who's opening a business, and you want to give them some heads up. So I'll turn it over to you real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've known this guy for about a year now, and he does an amazing job. His name's Chef Nick. He's finally opening his own restaurant. So give him a check at the grand opening. It's open February 8th at 4 p.m. Over 1,000 RSVPs are going. So it'll be quite a party. I don't know how he's going to fit that many in there. But everybody's parking over at FC Dallas just to get there. Like, that's how many people are showing up to show Chef Nick all the love and kind of attention, because he's been really, really active within the Frisco community for a while now.
Yeah, he's done a ton of great things in the community. He's catered a lot of really awesome events. He's donated a lot to the community. Like you mentioned, they're finally opening a brick and mortar location that's right off of Main Street in downtown Frisco.
What kind of food is it, y'all?
It's a variety. He really makes anything. You can cater. He has like a huge menu. Like, he makes anything and everything. He does a great job.
I'm actually excited to see how he's going to actually set his menu, because his skills go across all kinds of different types of food. So it's not just Italian. It's not just, whatever specific food. It's not just barbecue, though I know he's done both of those. So I can't remember the street, but it's right across from the FC Dallas Stadium Hall, the Soccer Hall of Fame, right there off of Main Street. in the new downtown Frisco. So check that out. It's February 8th, right, Ethan?
Yes, February
Yep.
8th at 4 p.m. And then
4
the
p.m. is their ribbon cutting,
Mhm.
and good luck finding a parking spot, because I know he's got over 1,000 RSVPs that that people said they'd be there. So get there early, get there often, as they say in the voting booths in Chicago. So thanks for sharing that. I know I've got a couple that I wanted to call out. We've been talking about this since our inaugural show, 9 episodes ago. And this is the Miss Frisco Scholarship Pageant. It is actually happening here, coming in a couple short weeks. It's on Saturday, February 17th. 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. This is a fundraising. Fundraising is continuing for this, but it is a scholarship that is going to the winner, and I believe maybe second and third place as well. But it's open to young women in Frisco. We've actually already had the selection happening, so I think we're down to the final 12, and the actual coronation is happening, like I said, Saturday, February 17th. It's at Verona Villa in Frisco off the Tollway and Lebanon. So, or actually I should say Tollway and Stonebrook. So check that out. Jason Young, who owns Verona Villa, was on our first show. Go support his location and support the pageant. And then also kind of a big game, college football, one of the final ones. It's the East-West Shrine Bowl. I believe this is the 99th version of this bowl. So it's kind of a big deal. This is basically college all-stars who are graduating and looking to go into the NFL, hopefully, or any other professional football feeder league. And that is happening tonight, Thursday, February 1st. Tickets are like $20, so that's super affordable. It's over at the Ford Center at the Star. It's a short, couple drives, golf drives from where I'm currently broadcasting from. 7 p.m. Central. Again, tonight, February 1st, the East-West Shrine Bowl. Check that out if you're able. It's a great venue. Ford Center is a super cool place. It seats about 12,000 people. Hopefully it'll be packed tonight. But that's what I have. Jacqueline, do you have anything for What's Up Frisco?
No, I think there's some more stuff coming up in spring. I feel like that now today is like inspiring, right? Like spring mood, spring feelings or whatever. So I just would highly recommend it's patio weather, y'all. You guys should be getting out there because we're gonna get one more cold snap before this whole thing is said and done. We always do.
Yeah, for those not in the area here, it's been like low 70s for the last 3 days, and it will continue through the morning tomorrow, which, like you said, it's that time where you just want to get out and walk or do whatever outside. Yep. I guarantee you we'll have at least one more freeze and hopefully not a snow, but I guarantee you we'll have one because it could be 20 degrees, 10 degrees next week.
It always happens right at the end of February, beginning of March, because one of my stepdaughter's birthday is March 6th. And inevitably, anytime we planned a party for her, there was a freeze that weekend, like every single time. Like, I'm like, oh, cool, perfect.
I was going to say that some of the coldest days of the year always happen in March.
Yep. Just the very beginning of March, like that literal, like very end of February, beginning of March. It's always when the trouble comes.
And then
so
the crazy part is,
I mean, look, guys, I'm in a tank top. So if you're wondering if you should move to Frisco and you live somewhere cold, this is evidence. It's February 1st and I'm in a tank top. Just so we're clear.
The crazy part is after it's cold, like not even like 2 days later, it's like 70 degrees again. It's 80 degrees.
Well, exactly.
Like it's already hot. Like you're getting ready for the summer.
Love it.
Yeah, what was it like when AT&T Stadium was new and they hosted the Super Bowl and Jerry hosted the Super Bowl? It was what, 2011 or something like that, 2010?
I don't know, but that was one of the times that we had like a bunch of days of ice in a row.
Yes.
And I've lived here my whole life. And like literally we had like 5 days of ice in a row. And I was like, only when Jerry decided to do the Super Bowl in Dallas would we have this many days of ice in a row.
And wasn't Green Bay in that one?
I think so, yeah. So they were at home, but it was like, I think it was literally the same week, right? So we're now having 70 degree days. They had ice for literally 4 or 5 days, and the entire NFL and all the media and everything, just came to Dallas, and we're like, what? Where are we? What is this? I also recall a day, I think it might have been last year, 2 years ago, very similar to what we have today, where we're in the mid 70s, and then literally the next day it was in the teens. So it was like a 70 or, whatever, 65 or 70 degree drop in one
Oh,
day,
yeah.
which is
Yep.
ridiculous.
I think one time in January, it was like almost 90 degrees, like on 1 week, which was the weirdest thing ever. Like you all could be swimming in your pool. And then I'm pretty sure the next week it was like 30 or 40 or something. And I want to be like, only in Texas would we make a 60-degree drop in like less than 3 or 4 days.
Well, it's it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't crazy weather, right? So
At least we're not scraping the white stuff off of our cars for months at a time.
this is
That's the
true.
thing. Like I like the snow, but only to like look at it and play in it for about a week. And I don't
Yeah.
want to like live in it. I just like want to
Hey.
go visit somewhere else and play in it and then come back here.
I'm glad
One
I don't have
day.
to shovel snow. That's
One day of playing in the snow is sufficient.
Exactly.
I don't need a
And they're
week.
like,
Yeah.
well, hey, but Jared, if you had more ice and snow, then you might have a little more patience. So I don't know. Maybe pro con for you.
that'd be coming in. My
Yes,
back is
see,
already.
there's a flip side to that, because when it is cold, nobody goes anywhere, so they don't come in anyway, and so it's like I don't work for a week, and while that's sometimes nice, all I can sit there and think of is like, well, we didn't make any money today, so that stinks.
Well, hey, on that note, Jared, what we always like to do is just get, the story of your business and you, right?
Yeah.
Conveyed to our audience, and just get to know you a little bit better. So if you don't mind, just share with us, what inspired you to start your business. And then I guess the second part of that is, why did you pick Frisco, right? Or the Frisco area.
Sure.
So if you don't mind, just tell us a story. I love hearing these.
You bet. So I knew at the age of 14 that I wanted to be a chiropractor, and I knew I wanted to do something with people, and so whether that was was chiropractor or just something, and I started looking at all the different professions that were out there, and I remembered as a kid I had a good friend who was a chiropractor, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start diving into this a little bit more. And I realized that this was an awesome intervention for people who are suffering. I didn't love the idea of being a surgeon. I could handle my own blood, but other people, I was like, I'm not sure about that one. Funny thing is as you go along, like stuff like that doesn't bother me anymore. But when you're a 14-year-old kid trying to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, that played a factor. And so I went down the rabbit hole with it. Everything that happened, and I entered chiropractic school 20 years ago this spring, or this fall, and I graduated from the University of Western States, which is a chiropractic school in Portland, Oregon, which is the state of where I'm from. I grew up in Oregon, born and raised, and in 2010, I opened my own practice after working for somebody else for a couple of years. And 13 years later, or I should say 12 years later, in 2022, my wife and I kind of got an itch of like, we need to move. We weren't sure why or where, because I was like, I have this established practice. Leaving it is kind of financial suicide. Like, what are we doing? Why on earth are we doing this? I finally have this thing where I want it. But sure enough, that feeling wouldn't go away. And so I reached out to one of my siblings. I'm the seventh of 10 children, by the way.
Wow.
And my youngest sister.
That's a lot of siblings.
It's very busy in my house growing up. But I reached out to one of my sisters, and she had lived in Arizona for a long time. So like, I'm looking at states where, it's relatively easy to get licensed. I hate taking exams. So I asked her about Arizona because she'd lived there for 12 years, and she's like, yeah, Arizona's great. She's like, but out of curiosity, why do you ask? And I was like, well, we're looking to move out of the state. Want to do something different. And she told me then, she goes, well, we're moving to Texas. And so I was like, okay, well, where? And so she's like, well, we're looking at the North Dallas, north of Frisco, kind of like, prosperous Salina area. And so we're like, well, okay, well, if we're going to move, I might as well move by where I have family. And so my wife and I flew out here 2 years ago, last weekend actually, and looked around, fell in love, bought a house in Salina, and then I started looking of like, where do I want to open a practice? And Little Elm is where I'm at. And for those who may not know, that's just west of Frisco, off you'll hit on El Dorado Parkway there.
You're almost on the border, aren't you, Jared?
Yeah, I'm like 5 minutes from Frisco.
Yeah.
Really. And just found a spot, felt right. A lot of answers to some prayers, and just started cold. And we're just trying to build this thing up to where I know it can be, and in the process, like I said, help a lot of people. For those people, for people who don't understand, opioid use is an epidemic. Painkillers is just, it's horrible, and ibuprofen isn't as safe as people think it is. The same things with aspirin and Tylenol. Chronic use of those things just destroys your stomach and your kidneys. And chiropractic has been proven to be one of the best interventions for back pain, headaches, and then now a lot of us in my profession are starting to treat things like degenerative joint disease and degenerative arthritis, and neuropathy. Neuropathy is a killer. I mean, that people don't understand, that's not an innocuous disease. It will kill you. It's not an if, it's a when. And the reality is the modern way of treating it right now is just, it delays death, because it's like, hey, take this drug, it's going to help with the pain. Yep, it is, but it's not going to stop it. And really what got me into neuropathy treatment was I had a patient die from her neuropathy. She had really bad diabetes. She'd already had 2 toes amputated, and by the time they realized how bad some of the things got, she had a wound, went septic, and she was dead within a couple of days.
Wow.
And yeah, it's rough. It is not a fun way to go. It's a brutal disease, but it is treatable. Most people, when they go to their medical doctor, they're going to get, or their neurologist, and they're going to get the whole, there's nothing we can do. Here's this drug. As it progresses, we'll start cutting things off.
Yep.
And that's the reality of that. Whereas we take a completely different approach to a lot of these things, so that you don't have to have surgery or die.
Well, I was going to say, so you guys probably don't know this, but my husband has some major ailments from his time in the Corps, including some serious injury to his back and his spinal column and things like that. And he couldn't feel his feet for like years until he saw a chiropractor. And it was through the help of chiropractics that he actually started getting feeling back in his feet. Yeah. So a lot of people think like, oh, chiropractic is like kind of quacky or whatever. It's really not true. Like, it really uses your own body to try to help heal itself, if you will.
Yes. I mean, your body is designed to fix itself.
Correct.
From just about everything, but it has to be in a position to do that.
Right.
And, again, there's a lot of just misunderstanding and whatnot out there, but, we're trying to, get rid of that, which is why I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how you talked about the Aleve, the Tylenol, all that, because as an athlete, I didn't know what I was doing when it came to pain meds. Like, obviously it says on the bottle, take this amount. Yep. So I played hockey tier 1, like it was full blown. We're playing every day. Yep. Off season isn't a thing. Off season wasn't a thing. You play 9 months around and then you go to camps the rest of the season. So when it came to me and my back, when I was 14, I mean, I'm taking Motrin and Tylenol every day. I was taking it every day. Nobody ever told me like, hey, you can't take it every day.
Right. You should be careful.
Thinking, yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing going into it. And so, a couple of years later, now I've had 2 broken backs, 2 degenerative discs, torn fiber muscles in my back, lower back, my S5 and L4 or S1 and L4, whatever. Just all that stuff. It adds up. And I didn't realize, because I'm so young, like I didn't think that it would, I guess, catch up to me that fast. I don't know.
It's not going to get you.
Right.
But you're lucky that you are so young, because what'll happen is that your body has an easier time regenerating now than when you start going down the path of getting older. And usually by the time you don't really pay attention to it, good thing you're paying attention to it now, because usually you don't pay attention to it till you get to be like 40s, 50s. And then at that point, it's not that your body can't fix itself. It just takes a lot longer and a lot more time with Dr. Jared to fix your problem. Whereas like when you're your age, you could probably do a little less treatments and things like that and get fixed a lot easier, which is a positive.
Because your body's making more, you know.
Since I was 14.
No, your body's still regenerating at a much faster rate than say when you're 60. You know,
absolutely.
Like it slows down, you know, and as you get older, things stop working as well. Yeah. It's just how it is.
Yeah. Yep.
You started talking, Jared, about neuropathy, and it's something I don't know much about. I don't think I've ever, encountered any of the symptoms, but it made me curious. Like, I guess, what is it? Number one. Number two, what causes it? And then number three, obviously you offer treatment for it, but when do people need to come see you?
Okay, perfect. So before I dive into that, I do find this actually kind of funny. I am actually the chiropractor for the Frisco Fighters.
Oh, look at this.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so what is neuropathy? Okay. So neuropathy is when the nerves in the periphery, okay, meaning like arms, hands, legs, feet, they start to die. When the nerves start to die, they shrivel, right? So they're not extending as deep as they should, and that usually results from lack of blood flow and stimulation. Okay. So what typically causes neuropathy? All right. Number one is typically type 2 diabetes. All right.
I was going to say that's lack of circulation. Is that what's creating that? My dad's struggling with this big time. He has type 2 and he's having trouble feeling his feet, and he gets cold on his feet and stuff like that.
Yep. So, so type 2 diabetes is the top one. Okay. And again, what does diabetes do? Diabetes creates chronic inflammation throughout the body. All right. This is actually why type 2 diabetics have to be very careful about their kidneys. They have to be careful about their eyes and their feet. And so you can develop what is known as, diabetic retinopathy. So basically the back of the eyeball becomes damaged. These people will eventually, if nothing is done, have a very high likelihood of going blind as a result. And then their kidneys can get damaged. They wind up having to go on dialysis because their kidneys aren't functioning anymore. Or at least not well enough. And then as far as like the extremities, like hands and feet, they'll feel like Jacqueline was saying, the numbness, burning, tingling. They feel like they're walking on like pins and needles all the time. It's horrible. I mean, it's just absolutely horrific pain because there really isn't a lot of relief out there. I mean, we're talking people will be on like really high doses of painkillers. And funny thing is I actually learned this. So the number one treatment for neuropathy is a drug called gabapentin. All right. So if you know anybody who has neuropathy, chances are they know what gabapentin is. All right. Gabapentin is not actually FDA cleared to treat neuropathy. It's an antidepressant.
I was going to say, I know of it, but I didn't know of it from the neuropathy standpoint. I know of it from an antidepressant standpoint because psychiatrists sometimes will prescribe it for antidepressants or to deal with restlessness of the body.
Right. And that's why they prescribe the gabapentin, because it calms things down. But man, they give that stuff out like candy for nerve pain, but it's not really doing anything other than treating the symptom. Okay. And so what was your other question, Brian? It was
basically, when do people need to know to come to you?
They need to start coming to me immediately, as soon as they recognize that there's something wrong. Most people, like, your body's talking to you the whole time. And so if you're like, hey, my feet are feeling kind of nummy or burny, man, right then, that's the time. Don't wait. Because once you have it, that's it. You got it. And it doesn't matter if it's like, oh, well, I barely have any problems. Like, guess what? You have neuropathy now. And if nothing's done, it will progress and it will worsen. Now, you want to make yourself sick? Go Google search diabetic neuropathy of the feet. have a strong stomach. Okay.
Okay.
Have a strong stomach because it is not pretty. I've seen people we're talking wounds this big.
I was gonna say it's the reason why a lot of people who are diabetic lose like toes and fingers and things like that, right?
That's why they start amputating, because what'll
Right.
happen is, going back to the blood flow issue, if blood isn't getting everywhere, then the tissues start to die because blood brings oxygen and nutrients. But without those things, your cells die. When they die, they necrose, and when they necrose, wounds form. They're going to find that the wounds they do get are very, very slow to heal. Stuff that should have taken like a couple of days to go away, they've now had it for a month, and it's just not getting better. Or if it is, it's so slow that the likelihood of getting a recurring infection ramps up. And so, it's a scary disease. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people put it off is they're afraid to hear that that's what they have. They figure if they can just continue to ignore it, then, hey, I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. And it's one of those, no, you're not going to be fine.
So by using chiropractic services, does it basically reconnect some of the nerves that are trying to die? Like, what is it? How is it positively affecting it? That's what I'm trying to understand. Is obviously I know it's affecting it, but like how is that fixing the problem?
So believe it or not, there's actually very little adjusting involved with people who have neuropathy. It's mostly our adjunctive services. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to increase blood flow into those extremities. We're trying to get the nervous system to wake back up. And so typically we do a lot of infrared therapy. There's a lot of active exercise. We have a neurostimulator that we use that's specifically designed for neuropathy. So it's a lot of stuff. And I actually have a patient who I set him up at home. I was like, I don't think you need to come see me. I was like, because he was still capable of being active. He could walk. He didn't need assistance with those kinds of things. And so I was like, hey, I want you to do these exercises at home. I want you to be using this equipment at home, these supplements at home, and let's talk every 2 to 3 weeks. And we did that. And really after about 12 weeks, he came in, we did a reevaluation on him, and I was like, dude, all of your sensation is back. You can feel everything again. And I was like, how are you doing? And he goes, man, I feel great. He's like, my feet don't hurt. I have no pain.
That's awesome.
And I'm sleeping again at night. And so I was like, well, that's awesome. We were actually able to stop this thing in its tracks and reverse it. Now I'm not promising we can do that with everybody.
Sure.
But it's possible. That's why it's important you catch it.
Yeah.
Instead of like, hey, well, I've been living with neuropathy for 20 years now, and my feet are blue. I can't feel anything, and I'm worried that they're going to start taking my toes next, and then my feet. And the downside is once they amputate to the knee, they stop. There's nothing more they're going to do for you, because we're going to wait for you to die. So
is it typically feet because it's the farthest place away from your heart? Is that why?
That's why the feet are most affected. It's the farthest from the heart. It's why the hands can typically get affected, but they're closer. And so and
you're moving them maybe more, right?
Yes, because again, where do we see this more often? It's people who are sedentary.
Right. They're not moving around a lot.
Yes, sedentary lifestyles. They're not moving a lot, or they have co-factors. They have other issues happening that have led to this stuff. Because like I said, it can also be caused by trauma. I've seen people who come in with neuropathy and no diabetes. Their history's clean. We take an X-ray, and their L5S1, instead of being here, it's there.
Mm.
Wow.
And so there's no space for the nerves to exist anymore. And so the nerves are
that's like my husband.
down.
My husband doesn't have diabetes, but because of his time in the Corps, and he had a horrible car accident, and he also carried a 100-part artillery shell on each shoulder. I mean, it jacked up his back so badly that it's affecting massively the all the nerve endings in his legs and his feet.
It adds up. It definitely adds up.
So overall, what's like the age range for neuropathy? Like, is there any like demographic as far as like age goes when you can get it, when you, I guess, can't get it?
So you can get neuropathy at any time.
Anytime.
I mean, you can. I mean, again, the situations have to be correct, but you can literally get it at any time. you're not really going to see it in young people.
Right.
They're too active, what have you. The typical demographic where we're going to see this in is the 50 plus crowd. Okay, that's your usual demographic where we're gonna see this kind of stuff happening, and the reason being is because they've lived with it. Life has happened to them, like Jacqueline's husband.
Yeah.
Life happened to them, and
well, and I mean, even with him, he's in his late 40s, but like, let's be real, he sort of ignored his body for a long time because he was a Marine, and I can just
tough.
figure it out, and I'm tough, and I'm like, yeah, babe, I love you a lot, but remind yourself, we have a 2-year-old, right? And like, she still wants dad to chase her around. You're not going to be able to do that if you don't handle some of these more complex issues and problems.
Right. And that's what I try to, that's the education I try to give, to folks as far as, the neuropathy goes, or the knee pain kind of stuff goes. It's like, look, what do you want your future to look like? Do you want to be able to chase your grandkids around?
Right.
Or are you going to be the grandparent that's known as like, well, they're the one that shows up and just sits down.
Yeah.
Well, but also it's nice that like what you do can like actually reverse it, because I think what a lot of people don't like is that they go like, I mean, I'll be real. My husband deals with the VA all the time, and all they want to do is just prescribe him medicine. Like, here you go. Let me prescribe you 900 different pills. I mean, you guys should see how much crap they give him. And he's like, first of all, half of it doesn't really work. Or if it does work, it only works for a very small amount of time because he metabolizes medicine really quickly. So, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I've got a question. You mentioned the knee pain too. I've had knee pain for years, and it comes and goes, and I've learned how to, what inflames it, I guess. And I've had MRIs on my knee done. I've had, torn MCLs and an ACL, but basically what I'm facing right now is a lack of cartilage in the knee.
Yep.
And both knees.
Yep.
Do you treat something like that to prolong or to avoid, I guess, a knee replacement?
100%. Yes, sir. So I actually have degenerative arthritis in my right knee. I blew it out when I was playing basketball in my mid-20s, and have surgery because that's what they say. Yeah, you're supposed to have surgery. You tear your ACL and you tear your meniscus up, you should have surgery for that. So I was like, okay. So I did. Had my ACL replaced. They removed 60% of my medial meniscus. I got like 10 PT visits, and that was it. And I was like, I was told, good luck. Nobody tells you that, you lose half your medial meniscus, your knee is going to start to degenerate.
Yeah, it doesn't come back. Yep.
It's not coming back on its own.
Jared, real quick, I want to hear the rest of the story on the back, and we're going to have to take a break real quick, but I want to hear the rest of that. And then I also want to understand what you're doing for the fighters, because we've got a lot of good tie-ins there. So let's talk about that here after this quick break.